Hello, can you hear me? If you can hear me, say woo woo in the comments. Woo woo. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name's Kayla. I love all things health, fitness, and wellness. Today, I'm gonna sit down, have a little chit chat with you guys about my personal fitness journey. It has not been an easy, linear journey. It has been messy and all over the place, but beautiful nonetheless. Little backstory. Growing up, I did competitive dancing very seriously. I danced at a competitive dancing studio for almost 18 years, 6 or 7 days a week. I would literally leave school, go straight to dance. Obviously, it was very heavily cardio based. We did crunches and core and calf raises and body weight things, but I never really touched any weights. I give dance a lot of credit for my character development. I had some really great teachers that motivated me and encouraged me and instilled some really great values in me. The mirror situation was pretty toxic. I didn't know it then, but I became obsessed with what I looked like. If you don't know, dance studios surrounded by mirrors so that you can see your body. From a young age, I started to believe that my worth was based on how small I was. People loved that I was tiny and petite, and we got measured in dance for tiny little costumes all the time, and I wanted to make sure that I had the smallest measurements in class. Nutrition-wise, at this time in my life growing up, I ate like crap. I did not even know what the word nutrition meant. My family fed me Pop-Tarts, toaster strudels, cheese puffs. We were like the fun house on the street, and people would come from all over the neighborhood and raid our pantry, which I really am actually glad for the food freedom that I had when I was little, because I never had to view food as good or bad. Everything was always available to me if I wanted it, and I didn't crave something just because my parents said no, if that makes sense. I didn't ever have time to really sit down with my family and eat dinner, so I'd always swing by after dance class and get like a burrito. I remember every single day just about, I'd eat a Moe's burrito with a full bag of chips, and then after I would polish it off with a sleeve of Oreos and milk like it was nothing. I mean, I was like, good night. I mean, and this was at like 9, 10 p.m. every single night. I was a tank. I definitely was not scared of eating, to say the least. If I wanted it, I ate it, okay? But there was one instance in particular that I remember that changed everything for me. I was talking to my friend about wanting to get McDonald's, and my ballet teacher came up to me at the time and was like, you can't have that. You're at the age that you need to start paying attention to what you're eating. You can't be eating that crap. And while she's kind of true, McDonald's is crap, fake food, not real, do not recommend. From then on out, I became very obsessed with what I put in my mouth and what I ate. And it wasn't in a healthy way. It was in a, I want to be a professional dancer, so I can't eat like this. I'm so sorry. I ate 4 ounces of ground beef before I started the camera. I give dance a lot of credit for getting my foot in the door with moving my body and finding joy in movement. And I also blame it for a lot of my issues with nutrition and exercise down the line. Basically, this is like chapter 2 of my story. Clemson University. I was terrified of the freshman 15. It was just because all of the buzz from my friends around me saying like, freshman 15, just wait, freshman 15, freshman 15. I was like, what is the freshman 15? And why do you tell me I have to have that? I don't want it. So when I got to college, I was like, oh my God, I don't have dance anymore to move every single day. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna gain weight. And I don't know why that terrified me, but it absolutely terrified me. So I started doing little YouTube workouts. As I'm sure many of you can relate, I did Blogilates. I did like these 1,000 crunch challenges daily, just mainly body weight things, no crazy weights. I dabbled in weights maybe a little bit, but not much at all. It was mainly those little videos, some like HIIT workouts. I don't know why every time I'm saying an exercise, I'm going like this. Just heavy on the cardio. I also started to run. I remember I could barely run 1 lap around the parking lot in freshman year. And then I started to slowly build that up and build that up. And then midway through college, I would definitely consider myself a runner. Like, that was what I did. I loved running, had injuries in my IT band, went to physical therapy because I literally ran so much. I got to the point where I was running like 10 miles a day. I had to run because I didn't want to gain any weight in college. And so it became very much of a checklist thing of like, oh, gotta run 9, 10 miles every single day. Ain't no way I'd be running 10 miles a day now. Nutrition-wise, in college, I continued to become more aware of what I was eating. I started to make sure I only ate natural foods. Ooh, I hate that word. It wasn't organic. It wasn't a bunch of fruits or veggies or anything, which would have done me good. It was just processed foods in boxes that said like natural. So instead of my sleeve of Oreos at night, I would get like Annie's natural bunny grams. At this point, I wasn't tracking or anything. I definitely was not eating enough protein. I didn't even know what proteins, carbs, and fats were. I just thought food was food. Was not eating anything of nutritional value, no veggies and fruit really. But I did start to shift my mindset into buying the brands that at least looked healthier. You know how some brands be making the box look all green and like, ooh, but in reality, it's still full of crap. That's probably really what I was eating. Chapter 3, aka the juicy stuff. This is when my story really starts. So that I was all kind of setting up my fitness journey. This is when it really started. I lost my dad in an accident. It was very sudden and it completely wrecked my family and my life. Like I mentioned, I had been running throughout college, but after losing my dad, it definitely became less of a task or like a check on my to-do list, and it was more of a healing mechanism. I needed something to do to distract me from the pain. For me, that was the gym. I decided I was gonna start going to the gym, lifting weights. I wanted to feel strong because if I was strong enough to get through my workouts, I knew I was strong enough to help my family with what we needed to do to get through that day. I was running as well as slowly incorporating weights, and I was teaching myself how to do weight training and strength training. I went in there without even knowing the proper way to hold a freaking dumbbell, and eventually I slowly just picked up on it. And I was embarrassed and shy at certain times to like Google how to work a certain machine. Side note, nobody cares. You think people are staring at you, but really they're just worried if they look stupid themselves, so you good. It's funny because a place that used to make me feel out of place now feels like home to me. And the place that used to make me feel so shy and little now is where I feel the most confident. So in this season of my life, me and exercise were tight. It was my escape. It helped with my anxiety and my depression that I was battling at that time. This is when I first experienced the healing power of exercise and fitness, and I realized that it didn't have to be a chore. Strength training quite literally saved me from the darkest time of my life. Along with Jesus, of course. You know Jesus. You're my #1 man, you know that. This is when I realized that event planning and business, which is what I went to school for, was not what I wanted to do. I actually wanted to serve people through fitness in some way, shape, or form. I got certified and became an in-person trainer. But at this time, I was still dealing with my own personal struggles. This is where it gets juicy. I was still dealing with a lot of internal issues with my relationship with food and my body. There was this trainer that took interest in me. And at the time, I was still very broken from losing my dad. This guy was in his like 50s maybe, or maybe late 40s. And it wasn't a creepy way, at least I thought. It was more of a, hey, I see you putting in hard work every day in the gym. I used to be a coach. I would love to train you for free. Every coach needs a coach. And I was like, you know what? I would love to learn from you. But this was the first time a bodybuilding coach had ever taken interest in me. This is the first time I had even ever met a bodybuilding coach or a fitness coach. So I didn't even do research. I didn't ask who he used to train or anything. I just freaking was like, sure. Do not do that. Coaches can mess you up big time. I have spent years reversing the damage that this coach has done. Do not just say yes to somebody just because they say they're a certified trainer, a certified coach. Be careful, guys. It's crazy out there. Anyways, this man came up to me, started training me. I was like, sure, free workouts, love that. Didn't know that he was going to change my nutrition completely. He told me in order to see any changes, I needed to change my diet. And I was like, oh, okay, whatever you say. I started to really look up to this guy like a father figure, and I got attached very quickly. And I was just like immediately like yes to anything he said. I was like his little puppy. Something also worth mentioning is at this time, I also simultaneously got into athletic modeling. It was kind of an accident and I just stumbled into it, but somebody messaged me, was like, hey, I'd love you to do do a fitness shoot. I see you're local to the area. And I was like, sure. So then I decided that was something I also wanted to pursue. So that really just fed into the idea of I need to get really small and really shredded. This coach immediately put me on a cut. If you know anything about nutrition, bodybuilding, anything, you don't cut before you build. Sure, he said my abs would show. That's awesome. So I was like, okay, little ditzy me. I was actually carb cycling, which I had no business carb cycling. If you know what that is, you eat really low carbs on some days and then high carbs on others. But I had no business doing that because that's really for someone that is way more advanced and knows what they're doing. My high days when I was carb cycling were probably like 1,200 calories. And my low days were as low as like 700 calories. 700 calories! Are you kidding? For over a year, I was on less than 25 grams of fat a day. Fat is so crucial as a woman for your hormone health, for almost all of your bodily functions. While my calories were so low, the coach was also continuing to up my cardio. There was at some point where I remember I had to do 45 minutes on the Stairmaster and 45 minutes on the treadmill every single day. I just remember having tears in my eyes because on Saturday, after our session, my trainer was like, well, I'm gonna go get food, but you need to stay here and finish your 2 hours of cardio. And I remember being on the stairs just like with tears in my eyes. I felt so stuck, as if I couldn't just walk out. But I didn't want to let myself down or my trainer down, and everything felt so out of control in my life at that point that the only thing I felt like I could control was my body and my fitness and being perfect. My body literally started shutting down. So I wasn't sleeping, I had crazy breakouts, my cycle completely vanished, like my period was non-existent. I was grumpy, I was so fatigued, I was spacey, like I can't even tell you conversations I had during this year of my life because I was so out of it. Spontaneous dinners with friends were not a thing. I could not go anywhere unless I had my Tupperware of meal prep that I made ahead of time. I really was miserable. And eventually I started to tell my coach, like, hey, things don't feel right. I don't feel good. And I remember him saying, no, that's just part of it. Part of what? He was basically prepping me for a bodybuilding show that I was not even gonna be in. I didn't know what any of this was. I thought he was just gonna help me be healthy. This was the first time I learned that being fit was not the same as being healthy. And looking fit was not the same as actually being healthy. I thought that the bodybuilders you saw online that were shredded with muscles, I thought that meant that they were just uber healthy. Newsflash, most of them are not even close to healthy. Bodybuilding is a sport. It is not meant to be a lifestyle. And this coach was trying to push it onto me as like a lifestyle and get me into competing and things. And I was just a naive little girl that wanted to spread the joy of fitness. But meanwhile, I didn't realize that this coach was really, truly sucking the joy out of the fitness for me. Another thing the coach did often is he would come up to me and grab the skin on my belly and he would squeeze it and pinch it and say, oh, you're looking watery today, or you're looking bloated today. Do a little extra cardio or do this. And I truly was never, ever satisfied with the way I look. At this point in my life, my abs were showing more than they ever have. My six-pack was popping, but I have never had more body dysmorphia or body image issues or anxiety or stress than I have in this point in my life. I would absolutely lose it around food. I just couldn't take it anymore. I was so hungry. The thought of being full after I ate a meal was all I wanted. So I just started to binge. It started just one day a week, and then it started to be like every night. I would eat until I felt sick because all I wanted to do was feel full because that feeling was so foreign to me. My hunger cues did not exist. God gave us hunger cues to be able to tell when we are full and when we are hungry. But when you spend so long listening to an app to tell you when to stop or start eating, you lose all sense of hunger cues. So basically, there comes a time where a girl and her coach have to break up. I was sad, but looking back, it's like the toxic boyfriend that you just didn't know in the moment that was so bad for you. That's what this was, except it was with a coach. I was still really passionate about making fitness my career, and I felt really called by God to serve people through fitness, but I knew that I had a lot of damage that I had to reverse from the toxic previous year. The next few years, I started the journey of actually getting to the healthiest version of myself. And I knew that started mentally. At this point in my life, I realized that in order to be my healthiest self mentally and physically, I needed to break up with tracking. I'm not saying that tracking is horrible. It is great to help you get to where you want to be. It is the most effective way to get to certain physique goals. I did take what I learned through tracking about protein and carbs and fats and serving size, and now I feel confident enough to make balanced meals and not have to track every single thing. Same with training now. I used to always be in a bulk or a cut. I was never just maintaining. Like, I never was just satisfied. And right now I just want to train in a way that is sustainable for me and that I enjoy. To me, that's also incorporating a bunch of different types of training. Finally found the sweet spot that I was searching for all of those years, where exercise is part of my life, but it's not my whole life. Like, fitness is a lifestyle, yes, but it can either take over your life or it can add to it. And I'm in a place now where I don't feel like it's taking me away from my friends, away from my family, away from happiness. I don't beat myself up now if I have to skip a workout or I can only make it to the gym a few days a week. Old Kayla would be like, no, we're doing it anyway. The grind never stops. It's like, yes, baby, it does. Because eventually you will wear down because you were not the Energizer Bunny. Rest days are just as important. I did not know that. It's not grind, grind, grind mentality. Now it's, I'm going to honor and respect this body because it is a temple that God gave me. And I'm going to work out in a way that makes me feel my best and helps me to perform my best so that I can serve others better. I don't train for solely physique purposes anymore. I think having certain physique goals is great, and I still totally will. Like, I'm like, right now, like, I still want to grow these quads, you know what I'm saying? If I have new, like, shoulder definition, you better believe I'm flexing in the mirror, like, look at that, pow, pow. You know, a little glute gain action is awesome. But that is not my only focus of fitness now. That is a small portion of why I work out and why I'm into health and fitness and wellness. I have never been happier when it comes to where I am in my fitness journey. I am confident, I feel good, I'm not always hungry, I feel my body right, I eat a ton of quality foods, not processed junk. I eat a bunch of grass-fed beef. I still prioritize a good bit of protein, lots of fresh fruits, natural honey, raw dairy. I'm really focused now on the sources of my food because I know that what I'm putting in my body doesn't only affect my physique, but it affects how my body will run and function in the long haul. It's like gas for a car. You're not gonna put the cheap gas into a Lamborghini, are you? Food is fuel. Stop putting cheap gas inside of your Lamborghini. My biggest piece of advice to you, wherever you are in your fitness journey, is to stop chasing numbers and start chasing a feeling. When I started chasing feeling good and feeling strong and feeling fueled is when everything changed. I hope that my fitness journey inspired you or encouraged you in some way. Wherever you are in your journey, just know that you can get to a place where you feel so fulfilled and free, and you're not meant to feel trapped when it comes to fitness and nutrition. If you do feel stuck or in a little bit of a funk, I would love for you to try my app for free for a week. I'll put a link below. Be sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, favorite, all the things. It means so much to me as I'm trying to grow this channel. Love you guys. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye. Oh my God, I just broke my couch.